liberal senators, the reply was, well, they can use the legal system we have in our country to bring the government to court. That thinking is freaking flawed. I mean, you're a senator, you have the responsibility and you have the opportunity to fix this bill so a marginalized group doesn't need to take its time, its money, to sue the government to gain a right that they already have. They're gonna spend money against the government will spend our money, my money, to fight the indigenous group to win their case. How backward is this? And what is the anti-gun lobby right now celebrating? Tell me. I mean, like, I heard the left calling the right bigots. This is a don't. This is not the video I wanted to make about Bill C-21. Here we are, 1 year later, and we lost. We did lost. So some people are celebrating around the country. Good for them. The truth here is they're celebrating because they are ignorant about the actual issue and what C-21 is actually doing to Canada. I would even argue that Bill C-21 will increase the amount of gun violence in Canada, and especially untraceable gun in Canada. And I'll talk to that in a moment. So that video is mostly improvised. I'm sorry. You'll see how my scattered brain actually works. I'll try to fix some of those at the during the edit, but I'm gonna blurt out a lot of things, and hopefully you'll be able to follow. I have multiple prongs in this video. I want to talk to the anti-gun lobby. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to my friends, hunters and sport shooters, the people that you know, my people, my community, the people that I love engaging with, the which I think, no, I don't think, which I know are being treated so unfairly right now by the Liberal government. And it's, I might be smiling from time to time, but literally my blood is boiling, and it's been a bad couple of days, folks. It's really been a bad, like, the last few days were really bad. But first thing first, let's talk to the anti-gun group. So if you are for gun control, everybody's actually for gun control, okay? There is no such things as gun control versus no gun control. Gun owners also approve gun control measure. What gun owners does not approve are laws and regulation that impedes their freedom without any significant gain to the rest of the community. That's the very definition of stupid, is having someone lost something without any other gain elsewhere. Okay, it's like someone else causing me to lose something without any significant gain to that person. That's stupidity. Okay, so a lot of anti-guns are all firing up on Facebook, Twitter, like, you know, celebrating. And when you read the comment, it's clear, 100% clear, that they haven't watched any of the witness testimonies. They haven't watched the parliamentary session. They haven't watched the Senate debate, which was actually very limited. And speaking of the Senate, if there is only one speech that I really want you to look at, it's the one from Senator Arno at the last day of the third reading of the Bill C-21, and he summarized. It's a 10 minutes, if I remember well, speech, and he summarized really well the problematic of Bill C-21. And so I want to thank Senator Arnold for his work. Also, I want to mention that Senator Plett has done an outstanding work. I can't, like, if I were to put myself in his shoes, I would have been so frustrated by the discussions that we're, you know, having on the floor at the Senate. The line of questioning of some liberals with the witnesses, and no amount, it's clear, you know, after having watched a lot, I didn't watch 100% of them, but I would say a good 95%. I watched a lot of time watching the Senate and the witness testimonies, and it's clear, no matter what the stats are, no matter what the evidence are shown, brought forward, the members of the Senate who already made their mind, their mind was already set on having Bill C-21 move forward. There was no amount of evidence would have changed that, okay? And this is why this bill is so such a difficult pill to swallow. The Senate, the people we rely on guiding the country with wisdom, right? With compassion, with understanding, to protect minorities, whoever they are, and being them in such acting in such a bullying way is, yeah. Anyway, enough of that. You didn't click on this video to see me ranting, but to the anti-gun lobby, there's a couple of things I want to express. For what I'm about to say to you, there is one thing, only one thing that I want you to entertain. No, just entertain that thought for a second, and then hear me out. Imagine if we were living in a world where politicians could lie, okay, for their own benefit. Just imagine that, okay? Therefore, you know that you cannot take everything they say at face value, okay? Now hear me out. My interpretation of things are purely based on statistics and fact, all right? All the liberals are posting on Twitter the tougher gun control, safer communities, and this is utter BS, all right? And in your mind, less gun equates less gun crimes, which honestly, a 2-year-old could understand that process. What a 2-year-olds don't understand is how intricate and how this bill C-21, is not, hear that well, is not taking one single firearm, not one, okay, single firearm out of anyone's house, okay? The OIC of 2020, who forbid people of using their AR-15, are still in the same people's possession. They didn't give away the firearm when the OIC passed, because they're not required to do so, okay? So when the liberal tells you that tougher gun control, better, and tougher gun control, safer communities, what part of Bill C-21 is actually removing guns off the streets? None, all right? Let's... This is mental. So, now, let's look at some stats, and I'm doing this from memory, so I will round up numbers, but my numbers are ballpark right, okay? Of all the violent crimes in Canada, all of them, if you were to take all the violent crime reported, okay, in Canada, 2.8% of them had a firearm present, okay? Not used, not shot, not specifically killed anyone, but just present at the time of the offense. These 2.8% violent crime are responsible for about 870 murders, okay? Of these 870 murders, it happens that 90, okay, not 20, not 30, not 50, 90% of the firearms recovered were illegal firearms. You must be like, there you go, so that means there's still 10% where legal firearms were involved in crime. Hold on. Let's just simplify all this. Let's say 870 homicide, 10% of these homicides are committed with legal firearm. That's still a good amount of murder, and I'm not arguing with that, okay? So that's 87 murder, potentially due to legal firearm ownership. Let's adjust the response to that. Bill C-21 has been projected to cost $7 billion, okay? $7 billion for Bill C-21. Knowing, if you've read the bill, if you watch what the large majority of witness testimonies are saying, you'll know by now that Bill C-21 is not targeting criminal activities, okay? By like a little bit, okay? You know, they're like forbidding, it's now criminal to have 3D printing data of firearms and stuff like that. But honestly, these are just nice laws that are going to be extremely difficult to enforce. I could download stuff. Nobody will know that I have this type of data on my computer until one day something happened, but it's going to be too late. You know what I mean? $7 billion to curb 10% of the 2.8% of all the violent crime in Canada. Okay? We're not talking about 10% of all the murders. $7 billion to that 10% of 2.8%. Is this the appropriate response? Could that 7 billion be used in a much more useful way? Securing the borders, having more resources in the city to prevent criminality overall, or we can also save lives elsewhere. Every year in Canada, 17,000 people die waiting on treatment. They die on waiting lists in hospitals. Don't tell me that $7 billion is a good response to save. Maybe, because even if we're saying we're saving 87 lives a year, it's not true. Someone who doesn't have a firearm often will rely on some other method. So you're not saving 87 persons. But this $7 billion could help the 17,000 people who are dying every year in Canada. And this bill is so infuriating because legal gun owners who knows the law, who knows firearm, who read the bill, knows that this is just horseshit. Now, I want to speak to my people. My fellow sportsmen, my fellow hunters. As much as emotional we are right now, I want us to calm down a little, okay? And to think what our next move should be. It serves no purpose to go online and lash out. I'm not trying to tell you how you should live your life, okay? I mean, just my opinion, but what I would love us to be right now is to understand that the people in the opposite camp, the anti-gun lobby, don't know things the way we do, okay? Therefore, because we know that we know something else that they don't, we need to put ourselves in teachers' shoes. And when we read comments online that sounds very dumb or stupid to us, resist the urge to be sarcastic and take that as an opportunity to teach something, okay? Be honest, be kind, treat them like you would want them to treat you. And let's move from here onward. Earlier in the intro, I was saying that I could easily argue that Bill C-21 will actually increase the presence of ghost gun in the country. And here's my reasoning, very simple. That bill has rendered a set of firearm valueless, okay? Meaning you have collectors, you have handgun owners who cannot resell their property, and people who have a good collection of semi-automatic rifles in their safe, not being able to use them. There is no official buyback program. Therefore, people have literally hunks of metal that are now worthless. The issue here is, legally speaking, the firearm is not all the parts of the firearm. The firearm is limited to the barrel and the upper, okay, or the action. All the rest can be disassembled and sold to whoever wants to buy them. Let me repeat that because I know anti-guns don't understand what I just said. Hear me again. A firearm is not all its pieces, okay? The firearm, legally speaking, is only the barrel and parts of the action. If you take out these two things, whatever you have left is not a firearm. Therefore, these things, these accessories, if you want to call them this way, or components, people are free to sell them. Who's going to buy them, do you think? If I'm a criminal and I'm machining handguns in my basement using very simple tools with a 3D printing machine, and the market is flooded with firearm parts, how easy is it going to be for me to print out or mail a receiver, part here, parts this, and combine my firearm using leftover from the OICs, for example? And this is a very dangerous path. Like, for every action, there's always a reaction, and you need to think 3 steps ahead of what people will do. And this bill has been rushed. There has been no debate, even that, like, the debate has been shut down in the House of Commons. Debate has been shut down at the level of the Senate, and it's yeah. Oh, also, one thing I would love to point out to the left is how they bullied the First Nations in this bill. First, Dominique Leblanc, the Minister of Safety something, lied about having consultations with the First Nation. Happens to be completely untrue during the witness testimonies. And that's in direct violation of the Indigenous Act, okay? When asked, the liberal senators, the reply was, well, they can use the legal system we have in our country to bring the government to court. That thinking is freaking flawed. I mean, you're a senator, you have the responsibility and you have the opportunity to fix this bill so a marginalized group doesn't need to take its time, its money, to sue the government to gain a right that they already have. They're gonna spend money against the government will spend our money, my money, to fight the indigenous group to win their case. How backward is this? And what is the anti-gun lobby right now celebrating? Tell me, I mean, like, I heard the left calling the right bigots. This is like, don't tell me who are the bigots now. See you, folks.